Good morning. Felt like it was a good time to share a little bit of what is going on in the sky at this crucial moment in history. And what we'll do actually really quick is we'll look at the financial crisis of 1930, which was the Saturn-Uranus-Pluto T-square. And if you go back to the previous major financial crisis, it was in the 1870s, which was the last Uranus Pluto Saturn T square before the 1930 Great Depression crash. And then if we look at the financial crisis of 2008 through 2010 or 2011, here's the exact, we got the same alignment, the next Saturn-Uranus-Pluto T-square from the 1930s. And so this was the last major financial crisis that we went through. And if we look at this in motion since then, Saturn has moved now into the conjunction with Pluto, as we all know, happened exactly in January, everyone was hyped on. But the consequences are in action through 2021 at the very minimum. And what actually seems to have taken place in this instance is as Saturn moved into the square, as Saturn moved into the square with Uranus over the past couple of weeks, we've had another major, sudden, unexpected, in a sense, financial downturn. I mean, I don't know how unexpected it was. I think a lot of people actually recognized how fragile the economy really was, and Trump basically pumped it up on steroids and made it weaker. So now we have less capacity to deal with this deep crisis. So just wanted to throw that out there as to what's taking place right now. This is January, February, and this will be March 21st. I have it on. So if we go back to today, you can see this is the Saturn-Pluto square Uranus that we're all really working with at this moment. So if we take a look at Donald Trump's chart, his chart's on the inside, his natal chart, and the transiting planets today are on the outside. And what we've looked at in the past, most important alignment is the Saturn-Pluto conjunction that's in opposition to his natal Saturn, and how karmically demanding that is, and surrounding his integrity Saturn, like how much integrity he has, and is it being challenged by the facts Saturn of the reality of the situation. And there was significant events in the past. I'm not going to go through it, we've all seen that in my previous post. But what's interesting that's happening now is that Mars is coming into the conjunction for everybody. This is Mars, Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn quadruple conjunction, right as for the next 4 weeks through mid-April. There'll be an added level of potentially frustration and anxiety and intention and aggressiveness, sharpness, but the capacity to take action. Mars, like to be courageous in the face of the fear that we're all facing with the Saturn-Pluto alignment. And what is also really interesting outside of this alignment, I guess, right now, is that right just today, Mercury is stationing direct in the next day or two, today, tomorrow, and it's opposite his natal Mars. And if you look at the way he's reacting just today to the economic downturn, he's tweeting out, doubling down on his position that is good for the economy somehow, the lower gas prices. But he's frustrated, he's angry. You're going to see more of that volatile anger come out as he gets more and more, as the Saturn kind of grip closes in and the pressure of the real reality and the circumstances continue to tighten on the consequences of all of his decisions that have led to where we are right now. So another thing I want to point out here is that over this next several month period, as we move into the election, so what takes place is that Mars moves into Aries in July, it looks like, and it's going to station in late Aries in a square to Pluto and Saturn at 28 Aries, and this happens in September. So it's going to station square to this alignment that's already producing the intention and anxiety that we're feeling. And this could add to the volatility of the situation just prior to the election. But What I feel like is going to happen is Saturn, as it stations at 1 Aquarius square to Uranus and then moves backwards, it will station again at 25 Capricorn, just 2 degrees opposite his natal Saturn. And what often you see with transiting aspects like this, when a planet has gone past its exact alignment and then comes back to its final station that's within orb of the alignment, often what happens is the lesson that we maybe haven't learned. So, like if you haven't integrated what Saturn is kind of asking of you at this moment in time, then the last station often is where that lesson really comes home to roost, like where the event happens that is a consequence of the lack of action or the actions that you've taken. So it seems to me pretty clear, because so much of Trump's presidency has been just such archetypally towering in symbolism, like the symbolic with the eclipses and everything. It's unbelievable, and it's hard for me to see, particularly now with everything that's happening and just how all of his lies are making everything worse, both our reaction, our preparedness, our ability to deal with it. It's just, he's making this so much worse than it had to be, and that history will show that. It's going to be clear to everyone, I think, in October, like how poorly he's managed this situation and made it worse for all, not just Americans, the entire world. The world economy can't trust him, like there's no leadership to deal with it, and they're afraid of the way that we're handling the crisis. So anyway, all of that stuff is happening, and I have a really hard time believing that he could possibly get reelected with these transits and this situation that's taking place. No matter what happens, I think Biden would have to forget where he is on stage during the debate and like lose it completely for it to even be close. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm seeing, and I just felt like it was important to kind of get this out there at this moment in time. I think it's really important, like particularly as Mars moves into the opposition over the next, this next 4-week period. It's really important for us all to be as kind to each other as possible, because there's going to be more and more anxiety and frustration, and as we deal with quarantines and stuff that we've never had to deal with and we're not used to, being compliant with the government, all these things, and yeah, be kind to each other. We're all in it together, and yeah, sending lots of love out to everyone. Be safe, be well, and hopefully we'll talk again a lot sooner rather than later. All right, take care.